Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in today's video I will be talking about the, in my opinion, best and craziest cars from the 2024 Brussels Auto Show. But first, I'll say a little about the Brussels Auto Show itself. So the Brussels Auto Show so this year was the first edition of the Brussels Auto Show. It was the first Brussels Auto Show ever, and it has already gone really well. It had over 122,000 visitors, and it has some really nice cars, which I'm going to show later in the video, the best ones. But it had ranging from like really nice supercars slash hypercars to even some modded tuner cars and some nice classics, which was really interesting to see because it wasn't like an odd show to see some new things. It was more of a odd show to see things or see the car that other people own. Okay, so first up on this list is the Lamborghini Aventador SVJ. So there were actually two of those, two different ones, and they both looked really beautiful, but I prefer the golden one in my opinion. But the car, nonetheless, the car is really crazy. So it has a 0 to 60 in only 2.5 seconds, and a 0 to 120 or 200 kilometers in only 8.2 seconds, which may seem like a lot, 8 seconds, but it's really good as for 200 kilometers per hour. And then it has a whopping 770 horsepower, and it can go up to 351 kilometers per hour, which is a crazy speed. And it's still a really beautiful car, and it sounds really nice because of the V12. Okay, so the next car on this list is a Dutch car that not much of you may know, but this is the Donkervoort F Twin 2. I really hope I pronounced that right. Sorry if I didn't, please correct me in the comments. But this is a Dutch car, as I said already, and it may not look like much, but it's really good and quick. It has a 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds, and the 0 to 200 in only 7.5 seconds, which is faster than the SVJ, which is crazy. But the car overall is really insane. It has 500 horsepower and weighs only 750 kilograms, and it can reach a top speed of 300 kilometers per hour. Now, it looks pretty nice, I like it, and I think it's a really interesting car to see, and I was really happy to see it because it's only a 1 of 100 ever made. So it's a pretty rare car too. Okay, now let's talk about the Gen 2 Ford GT, the modern Ford GT. So this is a beautiful hypercar, supercar by Ford, and I've already seen some of them. I've seen one at the 2018 Geneva Motor Show. I've seen one in the Koenigsegg dealership in Marbella, and then in the Brussels Auto Show there were three different ones. So one of them is from a company called Streetgasm, and they make like I think road trips that are international and just for people with really cool cars. One of them was a Golf Heritage Edition, which is a car made to in homage for the old Ford GT40 from the 60s, 70s. And I really love this one because I really like the Golf livery as it's on the 917K. And there was also a red and golden one. Now, some of you may not know about the car itself, whose is it, but if you know, you know. And this is the Ford GT of Shmee150. He's a YouTuber that you probably know if you're into cars and into YouTube. He's really popular on YouTube, on TikTok, on Facebook, everywhere. And he's been making content for a long time now, and he has a really cool car collection. Yeah, but he was there, and I did actually get to meet him, which was which I was really happy about. And I saw his Ford GT, which is really beautiful. And so the two normal Ford GTs are 1 of 1,350, but then the Golf Heritage Edition is a only 1 of 346, which is really cool. And then a lot of people don't like this car because they say it's a bit of a disappointment, because even though it's a really beautiful hypercar and everything, it has a V8 but it only has 550 horsepower, which is a bit surprising because it looks like way more, but it's still a quick thing and probably really fun to drive. Okay, so the next car on this list is the legendary Bugatti Veyron. Now, this car I find really cool and it looks really nice, especially in real life. And there were two of them at the Brussels Auto Show, which is really cool to see. So the first one was a regular Veyron coupe, and there were only 350 of them made, and it has a 0 to 60 in only 2.4 seconds, which is crazy, especially for an older car like that. It has a 0 to 200 in 7.6 seconds, a 0 to 300 in 16.7 seconds, and a 0 to 400 in 55.6 seconds. Yes, the car can go over 400 even though it is almost 20 years old. And this car is crazy. I think it was the first car to ever beat 400, and its top speed is 408 kilometers per hour. Okay, so the next Veyron that I have seen on the Brussels Auto Show is a Veyron that probably a lot of Belgian car enthusiasts will recognize, and this is the Veyron of a Belgian YouTuber Pog. He's really popular over on TikTok and on YouTube, and he has this Veyron and many other crazy cars, but this one is a better version than the white Veyron before, and it has 1183 horsepower instead of the normal 1001, and it has a 0 to 60 also in 2.4 seconds, but then a 0 to 200 in 6.7, a 0 to 300 in only 14.3, and a 0 to 400 in an estimated 40 seconds, which is really crazy, really crazy. And it can go 431 kilometers per hour, which is just insane. And by the time that this small clip of me talking just about the car, it's already going over 400, which is just unimaginable. Okay, so now I'll be getting into the three main attractions as the Brussels Auto Show official page said itself. So the first one I'll mention is the McLaren Senna GTR, and the McLaren just made a crazy car and then made it track oriented, which is just even crazier. And it has a 0 to 60 of only 2.8 seconds and a 0 to 200 of only 6.8 seconds. Sorry for that lag there. It weighs only 1,200 kilograms, even though how big it is, especially if you see it in person. And well, it's because it's all made of carbon fiber, and it's only one of 75 ever made. So I'm really lucky to see one, and it can go 335 kilometers per hour, which is not the most that we've had on this list, but it's really good, especially for a car like this. Now this one is probably the most beautiful one on this list today. So this is the Pagani Huayra BC Roadster. It's only one of 40, I think, and it's a beautiful car. It has a 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds, a 0 to 200 in 8.7 seconds. Sorry for me like mixing up 0 to 60 in miles, 0 to 200 kilometers. I don't know, it just sounds better that way in my opinion. Then it has a top speed of 383 kilometers per hour, and it only weighs 1,200 kilograms. And the car is just like one of the most beautiful cars I've ever seen. Now this is the last car of my list today, and this one is maybe even the craziest. So this is the Aston Martin Valkyrie, a brand new hypercar by Aston Martin. I already talked about this brother or sister or whatever you want to call it, the Aston Martin Valhalla, in the video before, in two videos before. And the Aston Martin Valkyrie, in my opinion, just it looks nicer than the Valhalla, and the Valkyrie is just amazing. So there were only 150 of them made, 150 coupes, and then it has a 0 to 60 in 2.2 seconds, which I think is the best 0 to 60 in the list today. and I couldn't for some reason find a 0 to 200, but I did find a 0 to 300 in only 15 seconds. It has 1,139 horsepower and weighs 1,153 kilograms, which is almost a 1-to-1 ratio. And it can go 402 kilometers per hour according to the Aston Martin Houston website, which is just crazy for a track-oriented car especially. Okay, so if you reached it here, thank you for watching the whole video, and I really hope you enjoyed it. So this was the most interesting and coolest, in my opinion, cars at the Brussels Auto Show. And please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the rest of my videos. Thank you.